George McKay, University of East Anglia. I want to talk a little bit about some research we've been doing on music festivals in Britain and a little bit internationally too. Along with a postdoctoral research assistant, Emma Webster, we produced this report a few months ago called The Impact of British Music Festivals, with a title From Glyndebourne to Glastonbury. And it was part of an Arts and Humanities Research Council funded project about festivals and festival culture and the impact of those in the UK. And for the project we also have a partner, and our partner is the EFG London Jazz Festival. So because we were working with a jazz festival, we did a little bit of research also on not just the impact of music festivals, you know, which, as this title says, goes from Glyndebourne to Glastonbury, so from classical through to pop and rock music festivals. But we wanted to have a specific focus on jazz festivals and on the research that had been done on those to date. So we produced this little side report which turned into an academic article which we've just published on the impact of jazz festivals. Partly in Britain, partly more widely. We thought that might be useful to festival communities, to jazz organisers, to musicians, and also to scholars and researchers in the field. We had a number of findings from this piece about the impact of jazz festivals, and I'll just talk about a couple of them really. You know, one of the things that we were really interested in was how does a jazz festival kind of transmit or capture a sense of place? What is it about the New Orleans Festival that might make it different from the London Festival, or come to that, the Lancaster Jazz Festival, or Montreux or something, you know? What, if anything, is specific to each of those kinds of locales, those situations? How does the London Jazz Festival present a version of London, and in what sorts of ways has the research kind of explored these kinds of questions? We were really interested in that, and you know, the ways in which it works include a festival kind of celebrating certain sites, having concerts on in special buildings in a city, maybe historic or resonant buildings for a particular location, town or city. Celebrating the musical history of that city itself, so you know, a focus on Glaswegian musicians and their tradition over the last 50 or 70 years or so at the Glasgow Jazz Festival, commissioning music by local musicians, organising a sort of fringe set of events to include local musicians in the bigger festival programme. All of these are fairly straightforward ways of thinking about how a festival can sort of bring together a sense of place and represent that in some sorts of ways. We also, you know, found that there was some research that was looking at, well, you know, what's been called the wherever festival. It doesn't really matter where it is, you know, the point of a jazz festival is to transcend the local, the locale. It's to talk about an international, or you might say an outer-national music, and to present that global music in this place at this moment. And it's not about the local, it's about the international, the outer-national, either the hemispheric or the global. So these were interesting questions for us to explore as academics. But we were also conscious that, you know, we needed to think about the pragmatics of festival organisation. We needed to think about what might be of interest and value to our partner and to partner organisations more widely. So there's a section in our report about the economic impact of jazz festivals, and that includes us going through and locating, well, really all the economic impact reports we could to do with jazz festivals that have been commissioned by jazz festivals in the past 10 or 15 years, and collating those together. So we've got this table of about 25 or 30, something like that, impact reports, and we draw out some sort of commonalities to do with those. And we think that kind of material will be really useful for festival directors, whether it's to do with to support their bidding applications, to refer to find just a list of the sort of reports that are out there, to skim through those, to see to see who's got good ideas and how can I use those good ideas in my funding application or festival organisation. So things like that, the pragmatics of not just academic research, but of grey and policy reviews, and of industry reports and so on. All of that is kind of covered in our article. Oh yeah, and I should say also that the article has or I don't know how many entries, maybe let's call it 100 entry annotated bibliography which is available online. So if you're interested in a particular article, you can just click online and you'll find a short description of it, a few lines, and usually there's a link to the article as well if that's open access and available, or to the report. So again, we think that'll be useful for people as a stopping point to see where at this particular moment in time what the current state of play is in terms of academic research, policy reviews, industry reports, economic impact reports and so on, all across the area of jazz festivals. And we hope you find the article useful. You can find it, click through to it on my website, georgemckay.org, M-C-K-A-Y. You can find it on the Impact of Festivals website. If you Google Impact of Festivals, it's a WordPress.com website. You find all the links on there too. And the article is published in the current issue of Jazz Research Journal.